Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me with Story Time with Joyce. That's me. And today we're reading chapter 13, and it's called Just Breathe. And last week we ended where Betty and Arvin's sleep was interrupted. So let's find out why their sleep was interrupted. Arvin, it's time, Betty said excitedly while poking at Arvin. Time for what? Arvin asked sleepily. Arvin, Betty yelled. Betty, it's the middle of the night. Oh, you mean the baby? Arvin said as he jumped out of bed. Yes, go get the midwife. We're gonna have us a baby, Betty declared. Arvin ran up the stairs in his sleepy stupor, knocked on several wrong doors before finding the right one. And the midwife, when the door opened, he said, in much too loud of a voice for the middle of the night, my wife is having a baby. Please come downstairs and help me. Help us. The face behind the door said, let me get my wrap and my bag. And when the door closed and the face reappeared, she said, ready to go. On the way down the stairs, she asked, what's your wife's name? Betty, Arvin answered. As they entered the apartment, Betty saw them and was relieved and happy to see Arvin with the midwife. Betty, how are you doing? The midwife asked. Doing just fine as long as I keep gritting my teeth and clenching my fists, Betty answered. Arvin, you know what to do now. Get us water and some clean rags, instructed the midwife. What's your name? Betty asked. Helen, replied the midwife. Thanks, Helen, for coming. I knew you were in the building, just never got to meet you, Betty said. That's okay, Betty. We're meeting now. We're going to do this together. Can you lay back and put your legs up, bending them at your knees? Yes. How's the pain? Not so good. Hurts like a son of a gun, Betty said. Are the pains coming and going? Yes, every couple minutes or so. Okay, I'm going to check to see how things are coming. Just push your knees apart so I can check you. That's right. Just keep breathing. No, don't hold your breath. I know it hurts, but just keep breathing in and out. Things look good. The head is in position, but not quite ready to come out. But the baby is getting ready, and when that time comes, you will need to push. Like I said, we will do this together, and I will help you. After a few minutes, Betty asked, Helen, how are things going? Going just the way they should go, Helen said. I just have to get to work, Arvin said. Will you stay with Betty? Of course, I will stay with her for as long as she needs me. Now go on and get to work. You are going to need the pay, for you will be having another mouth to feed very soon. Arvin smiled and said, Betty, I'll see you tonight. Helen will stay and take care of you. Bye, Arvin, Betty said and waved goodbye. Just after Arvin left, Betty's contractions started to come faster. Helen, pains, lots of them. Ow, 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 Betty said while trying to hold her breath. Breathe, Betty, breathe. I see the baby's head now. Now when I say push, push. It's going to hurt, but don't stop. The baby is just about ready. Betty let out a loud, ee, ow. Good, that last pain did it. The baby dropped. Now push, Helen said encouragingly. Betty pushed as hard as she could. Good, Betty. Now let's change positions. Let me help you roll on your side. Betty rolled to her side and once again holding her breath. Helen saw that and said, now don't hold your breath. Breathe, Betty, breathe. Betty listened and started to take short breaths. Now, Betty, let me roll you back. When we get you back on your back, put your hands under your bust and on your abdomen. And when you feel the tightening, push by breathing into the pain. Betty did as Helen instructed her. Helen continued with her instructions and said, now push one more time. Betty pushed and let out a really loud, ee-ow! That did it, Helen exclaimed. Beautiful baby girl, listen to that cry. When I slapped her bottom, I felt the sting on my hand, and that is good luck, so I've been told, Helen said. Betty, how you doing? I'm doing okay, I guess. Is the baby okay? Well, see for yourself, Helen said, holding the baby up for Betty to see. Here's your beautiful baby girl. Then Helen laid the baby by Betty. Look at all that hair. Why, she needs a hair trim already, Betty said in a very tired voice. You haven't lost your sense of humor. That's good, Betty. You are a very strong woman. Most women I help cry and scream and won't do as I ask. You are wonderful. Yes, very strong. Do you have a name for her? Ruth. I thought I would call her Ruth. She is a pretty thing, isn't she? Yes, she is. And Ruth is a real nice name. Arvin and Betty didn't get much sleep the next month. Ruth was displaying a mind of her own, and Arvin would say, why, she is just a chip off the old block, and Betty hated that saying. Since it was early, she decided to make some fresh bread while Ruth was sleeping. She was just punching the dough when there was a knock at the door. Betty wiped her hands and went to the door. As she opened it, she got quite a surprise. Why, Dr. Russell, what are you doing here? Please come in, Betty said. Dr. Russell stepped inside and said, I came to see the new baby and to bring you some sheets and towels. That's so nice, thank you. What did you have? A baby girl. I'll go see if she's sleeping, she said as she walked toward the bedroom. Ruth was stirring, so Betty picked her up and brought her out to meet Dr. Russell. This is Ruth. Ruth, meet Dr. Russell. Betty, she is beautiful and looks good. Have you taken her to the doctor yet? Yes, I took her to the clinic down the street. They gave her a shot. That was the pertussis vaccine to prevent whooping cough. Yes, that's what they said, Betty said, and then she went back into the bedroom and laid Ruth down. When she walked back into the kitchen, she said, Dr. Russell, would you like some coffee? No, thank you, Betty. I've been thinking, and I don't want you and Ruth on the streetcar in the morning. Too many people. Too much of a chance for your baby could get sick. Now that you live closer, I can pick you up and take you home. I'll pick you up after the twins leave for school. Dr. Russell, that's so nice. Betty, you're family to us, and now Ruth is part of our family. I will pick you up this coming Tuesday. I'll be ready. Thanks for coming by, and thanks again for the sheets and towels. You are quite welcome, Betty, Dr. Russell responded. Betty walked him to the door and bid him goodbye. Thanks again for joining us. Betty now just has her beautiful baby girl named Ruth. And next week we will read chapter 14, and it's called Betty's Juice Joint. And if you'd like to buy Betty, you can go to Amazon.com and look for Betty by Joyce Bennett-Hall, or you can go to my website, JoyceBennettHall.com. Thanks again, and see you next week. Bye.